Lurking at a most remote extreme of our solar system is, if scientists are correct in their calculations, an extraordinary discovery that could utterly transform our understanding of the sky above our heads. The possible existence of this new giant planet, Planet 9 as it has been called, has gripped the world of astronomy. But it's not just boffins in their observatories who are excited by this tantalizing discovery. Planet 9 has dramatic repercussions for the world of astrology and for anyone who follows their horoscopes. Astrologers believe this planet bodes well for an improvement in many love lives and heralds the advent of a more caring, trusting society. They also say it promises radically to alter our finances, and our whole relationship with money. To explain why we feel able to make such bold predictions, I should point out the huge symbolism in the way this new planet has been announced. The news comes from an impeccable source, astronomer Mike Brown of the California Institute of Technology. Professor Brown, whose research led to Pluto being stripped of its status as a planet in 2006 and downgraded to dwarf planet, has based his findings on the discovery of a strange cluster of 6, small, icy objects in the outer solar system. They move around on unexpected orbits that can only be explained by the unseen presence of a planet previously undetected. Yet there's no tangible, physical proof. Not even a fuzzy snapshot or a little blip from the dish of a radio telescope. All Professor Brown and his colleagues have, to back up any of this claim, is a set of hard sums, the likes of which only a doctor of maths could properly understand. The vast majority of us, meanwhile, must take this entirely on trust. Unless there's a radical advance in telescope technology, getting proof, say the scientists, will be like searching for a needle in a haystack by looking down the end of a drinking straw. All they're sure of is that there must be a needle. How interesting then, that in the moment of its very first appearance, this mysterious new planet is inviting us all to take a leap of faith and believe what previously seemed entirely unbelievable. Astrologers, by the way, have long had such faith. We knew it would only be a matter of time before a new planet was discovered and have been cautiously expecting it to surface any decade now. The experts tell us we may need to wait 5 years before we get the full evidence of Planet 9's existence. 5 years? Wasn't that one of David Bowie's seminal songs? Might there be some synergy here? Some internet mystics already seem to think so. Could this, indeed, be the very same black star that he prophesied with the title of the album released just before his death? If you think that sounds far-fetched, I dread to tell you what this planet apparently means to other conspiracy theorists. Many, for years, have been insisting the world is about to rediscover Nibiru, an enormous heavenly body on an eccentric 360,000-year orbit which was known to the ancient Babylonians. They have even claimed the reappearance of this mysterious planet X could cause the Earth's magnetic poles to flip, wreaking untold chaos on the whole human race. I mention this only to insist with all the authority anyone in my ethereal line of work ever dare muster that whatever this new planet is, it isn't this. Planet 9, I believe, is a herald of positive transformation, not a portent of doom. As for what planet may 9th eventually be known as, that's a job for the International Astronomical Union, IAU, who famously take their time coming up with any new name. Astrologers, by long tradition, accept that the astronomers who do the naming are being inadvertently guided by a force more magical than they realize. The new arrival may briefly pick up an interim popular nickname, and there may be some clue, in that, about its eventual relationship with the zeitgeist. But patient, wise astrologers will wait for the IAU and take whatever name they choose and its mythological associations as a clue to the meaning of this new planet's significance. Even right now, however, there are clues to what influence the new planet may have in the changing circumstances we see in the world around us. Remember, please, there's yet no tangible proof that Planet 9 exists. You've either got to believe in it or not. It is this very requirement to suspend our belief that makes me and many other astrologers feel the birth of a new universal belief system is imminent. That might not have quite such a lofty, spiritual implication as you may think. Money, as many students of economics have often observed, is a mysterious, intangible, abstract force that has power thanks only to the continued belief of billions. A religion, in a way, all of its own. Notice how news of Planet 9 arrived on a day when the priests of prosperity were panicking. World stock exchanges were in almost unprecedented turmoil. The commodities market was, and still is, being turned upside down. Traditionally safe bets are clearly safe no longer. Many, even in the most conventional corridors of power, are privately wondering if it is time for the whole human race to review its relationship with money. Futuristic philosophers, the world over, have long been saying how we need to outgrow a very narrow way of establishing value and replace this with a more sophisticated way to gauge worth. This planet, we astrologers feel, is telling us that the day to instigate such a change is nearer than we think, and that the current financial nadir is another reason for us to review our system. There may also be a message from the sky to us all about the enormous, global refugee crisis. Many believe this is not a situation that can be resolved by dropping bombs or deploying troops. People are dying in squalor and starvation, not just because of misplaced beliefs but because of international fears relating to borders, barriers, and boundaries. Isn't there an echo, in that, of how our personal love lives often get into trouble when we don't feel able to trust one another? What if a situation is asking us to love, trust and make space for someone? Yet to do this, we must first overcome our worry that, if we do, we'll be overrun, taken advantage of, or even destroyed. In that respect, Planet 9 can surely be seen as a cosmic message about the need to take a leap of faith with one another. This might yet have a positive impact on our hearts, with happier love lives everywhere as a side effect. Some, of course, might argue that the refugee crisis was here before Planet 9, as were all the ingredients of the current economic slowdown. This, they may say, proves there's no connection between the sudden arrival of this new heavenly force and the changing face of life on Earth. The counter-argument, however, is that Planet 9 has been having an influence on life on Earth all along. Those who question what difference the discovery of a planet makes when the planet is not, technically, new, may benefit from a brief history lesson. In 1783, 2 years after William Herschel discovered a new planet through a homemade telescope in his back garden, experts were still debating what to call it when two French brothers built a hot air balloon. Humans flew for the first time, and Uranus, the Greek god of the sky, came into our lives, just as we needed a new planetary symbol to stand for an unprecedented miracle. In 1846, Neptune was discovered using a similar process of mathematical deduction to the one recently used to identify Planet 9. Neptune was the traditional god of oceans and water. In a world where mirrors were extremely expensive, pools, ponds and puddles were often the only way people could see reflections of themselves. At much the same moment as mathematicians in Britain and France were making the calculations that would reveal Neptune to us all, cheap mirrors were finally becoming possible due to a breakthrough in the silvering process, and the daguerreotype, an early forerunner of modern photography, was also being developed. Thanks to Neptune, god of watery images, the human race, en masse, was able to see and freeze reflections. We have every reason to expect that, with a newly discovered planet, there should be new, world-changing technology. A new way for the human race to think about what's possible and thus to drop old ideas about what's impossible. This new planet certainly means we're all about to see the world change in wonderful ways we never dreamed of. Planet 9, whatever it gets named, moves too slowly through the zodiac to be an indicator of anyone's daily progress through life. We're not yet sure of its orbit, but it may well spend more than 2,000 years in some zodiac signs. That means both my mother and my youngest baby grandson will have been born with 9 at precisely the same point in the zodiac. Newspaper astrologers, therefore, may have difficulty incorporating this into their daily readings because its position will hardly change. But personal forecasters, drawing up birth charts based on people's exact date, time, and place of birth, will have a field day. Each personal chart will feature Planet 9 in a slightly different part of the sky, with a host of potential, inspiring, symbolic meanings. As an auspicious omen, suggesting that a generation of billions of people all over the planet are now destined to enjoy a far brighter future, it is most potent and most welcome.